Hello and welcome to Faculty Chat, which are free-ranging discussions with the faculty of Srishti Manipal Institute of Art, Design and Technology in Bangalore. Today is not a usual chat. We have a very special guest. In fact, he's not part of the faculty. He's Dr. Arindam Das, and he's the new director of the Srishti Manipal Institute of Art, Design and Technology. Dr. Das, welcome to Faculty Chat.
Thank you and good afternoon.
So we'll walk and we'll chat. So just in terms of where you started, you were part of the first cohort, the AMM cohort of the National Fashion Institute of Technology in Delhi.
Yeah.
After that, you were director of the Pearl Academy of Fashion in Jaipur.
Right.
Later, you were the campus director of many different campuses of NFIT before you came here. What was it about fashion that first grabbed you?
I think the desire to do something creative. Yeah. My first desire was to be an architect. Yeah. I couldn't get through architects college admission, so I thought NIFT was the next best thing. Yeah. That's when it happened. Yeah. I'd actually got into the Delhi School of Economics from a master's. Wow. And I got the call from NIFT. Yeah. And without informing my father, I switched. He was horrified. Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't, but I think that is a decision that is held in good stead. Yeah. So here I am doing something which I enjoy doing. Yeah.
One of the things that you spoke about when we chatted earlier was that many of your fellow students were talking about all the big places they wanted to go to and the great things they wanted to do, but you were very clear you wanted to teach.
Yes.
And you said, I'll come back here and I will teach. How did you know what you wanted to do so clearly at that stage?
At the core, that is what I wanted to do. Yeah. I come from a family of teachers. Yeah. My grandfather, my mother, my uncles, they're all teachers. Yeah. So I think somehow that grew on me. Okay. So, and I love teaching, I love being with students, and in teaching you learn new things every day. Yeah. So I think that was what drove it. Okay.
From the Fashion Institute to a place like SMI, isn't that a huge cultural kind of shift?
Not cultural, I think I am essentially about creative. Yeah. And the processes could be similar, but the domains are much wider. Yeah. And that's what makes it so exciting. Okay.
Okay. You've taken over at Srishti at a time of sort of transition. It was first it was a boutique institute, then it grew over the years, and a particular kind of culture and things, and now sort of it's been taken over by this big educational conglomerate, Mahe, and now you're presiding over that transition. So what are the challenges?
I think the best thing is that two fantastic brands have come together. Yeah. So it'll benefit only students, faculty, all shareholders. And I think my experience at Pearl at a time when it was a small institute, now it's grown. Yeah. And as an institute as diverse of NIFT with so many branches, that experience I think will do good in terms of making this partnership happen and go forward. Yeah.
In terms of when we first came to Srishti, they would talk about Srishti having a particular way of doing things and a particular way of teaching. Do you think there is a particular way? Do you think there is something unique as an outsider coming in that you have seen?
I think there's a legacy of every institute, and Srishti has a legacy. It has a reputation. The legacy must go on. Yeah. However, things have changed. Education has changed. How people look at education, what they expect out of education. Yeah. So we have to be with the times, and we must just have to mold that legacy to contemporary times. Otherwise, the basic remains the same.
Yeah. You are a man of many talents. You do a lot of different things, and I believe you play the Spanish guitar quite well. And that you're a bit of a rock star. Tell us a little bit about that part of your personality.
And I never learned how to read music. Yeah. At one point, I used to play with a very talented gentleman called Vishal Bhardwaj.
Oh, yes.
In Delhi, I was, Vishal moved on to Mumbai, I moved on to NIFT. Yeah. I didn't move to Mumbai because I couldn't read music, but the interest stayed. So I continued playing, and I still do. Yeah. And at NIFT, at Gandhinagar and Shillong, I've had the fortune to have some fantastic, talented students. We had our own bands, so I plan to do the same here at Srishti.
Oh, excellent, excellent. One of the things that, in terms of some of the changes that have come in was, we used to see ourselves here more as a community of practitioners, and, and then students were seen as aspiring practitioners and things. Now we have a little bit more structure and things, so can you guide us through some of those changes, like in terms of you have a much more emphasis on research and PhDs and things. So a lot of, what would be the guidance to faculty members and students who are trying to figure out what these kind of changes mean?
Yeah, I think one important point will be research, and research can be in many forms. It can be in the form of when you're writing for peer research journals, that's one way. What we'll also try to do as a design institute is to push visual research, which is largely missing in our country. And we'd also like our faculty to get into PhD programs and research and our students. And we'd also like to engineer our PhD programs in a way that it becomes a platform for international students to come and have an experience which they cannot have anywhere else. So that's one of the driving forces. And we'd like to, the campus should be an all-encompassing in a kind of life. Not just labs and classrooms, academics, but also we're looking at wellness programs. We have a fantastic campus. We are getting in touch with the other institutions. It's a whole way of life we want to promote here.
Yeah, that's a really interesting thing, Dr. Das. You have, so many different subjects being taught in one space. So what are your plans for making these different colleges sort of interact with each other and do more with each other between, law and management and design and, all these things?
I think learn from each other.
Yeah.
And for example, a design student could go to MIT and learn about AI and how it's applicable to design. Or we could think of using design to explain law to the common man in a very interesting way. So there are many, many possibilities. So we are very excited about partnership as a natural advantage this campus brings us.
A little earlier you said that, your father was horrified when you chose fashion over,
Delhi
School of Economics, which is a very prestigious. And
Yeah.
I mean, I studied in Delhi University. I know how tough it is to get in,
Yeah.
and you got in there. So, did he reconcile with your decision over the years?
Oh,
or
yes.
Does he still say that?
Almost immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I managed to convince him. I mean, I don't blame him because that time fashion was virtually not heard of, or even design. Today, people are taking up design as a first choice, not as a second choice. So I think times change and the context change. So he was convinced at that time.
The funny thing is, here at Srishti, we talk about design and we sort of look down on fashion and over the years, and we say, no, we must find a way of keeping them both in perspective. So how will you make those worlds sort of meet?
Fashion and design, they already there.
Yeah.
You just have to understand how do you work with each other, and not in terms of against each other.
So tell us what a day in your life is like here at in this new work environment.
I mean, I like to walk around a lot. I have maybe some office work. I love to meet with faculty, students, go and see how students work. And this is a great campus. Just walking around, we have a beautiful lounge back there. Sometimes I come here, just have a cup of coffee and do nothing. So I'm learning and getting to know the campus.
And outside college, what do you do in your free time?
Oh, free time.
Tell us a little bit about your family. And,
I go and relax, and I play the guitar, so that's part of every evening. Then sometimes I cook for the family, and I stay with my wife, and we have a small pet dog. And sometimes we go for a drive. And my children are here in Bangalore, so maybe a couple of times a month we go and visit them.
What do they do?
Oh, my daughter, she's a trained forensic psychologist. And my son is a master's in the interactive design.
All right.
He's working for a company now, so we're both in Bangalore.
Dr. Das, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.